Division Agent Personal Log. Agent Samuel Gator Crook. Location, Crook Family Farm, rural Arkansas. Time frame, several months after the dollar flu outbreak. Early Washington, D.C. crisis period. Status, recollection log. Recorded after SHD activation. Name Samuel Crook, though most folks where I'm from just call me Gator. Been that way most my life. Arkansas has a way of sticking nicknames to a man whether he likes it or not. You grow up running creeks, fishing muddy water, and wrestling gators in the bayou long enough, folks stop bothering with your real name. Now I'm recording this log so somebody, someday, understands how a farm boy from Arkansas ended up wearing one of these Strategic Homeland Division watches. Truth is, I didn't ask for it, and I sure as hell didn't go looking for it. The world just kind of fell apart around me. Our family farm sits a long way from the nearest town. Nearest highway is about 15 miles east, and the closest grocery store ain't much more than a gas pump with a soda cooler. Out here, life moves slow. Always has. Which is probably why the dollar flu didn't reach us right away. First time I heard anything about people getting sick was from my Aunt Maggie up in New York City. She always loved that place. Said the lights around Christmas made the streets look like heaven came down for a visit. She called me a few days before Christmas. Said folks were getting real sick around Manhattan. Hospitals filling up. People coughing in the streets. Sounded worried. But truth be told, I didn't think much of it. City folks panic easy. I told her it was probably just some winter flu going around and to stay inside till it passed. She laughed a little at that, but it wasn't her normal laugh. I remember that now. Couple nights later, I was sitting in the living room watching the evening news when things started looking different. Hospitals overrun, military vehicles in the streets, quarantine zones. Reporters talking about a biological outbreak. That's when the knot in my stomach started twisting. I tried calling Aunt Maggie back. No answer. Tried again an hour later. Still nothing. Phone lines kept ringing like the world had just forgotten she existed. Now I served 2 deployments in the military before all this. Can't say much about where or who with. Classified work. Let's just say Uncle Sam had me doing jobs that don't get written in history books. So when the news started using words like containment and federal quarantine, I knew something bigger than a flu was going on. I called up an old contact of mine, still in the service. Man answered the phone quiet. Didn't even say hello. Just said my name. Sam. Then he asked if I had anyone in New York. When I told him about Aunt Maggie, the line went silent for a second. Then he said something I won't forget for the rest of my life. He said, "Son, pray." Then he told me about the virus. A bioengineered disease. Spread through money. Banknotes. Every store purchase on Black Friday had turned into a delivery system. They were calling it green poison. Most folks knew it as the dollar flu. After that call, the world started falling apart faster than a barn in a tornado. News channels stopped regular broadcasts. Cities shut down. National Guard deployments started popping up everywhere. Supply chains collapsed. But out on the farm, life stayed quiet. Too quiet. We had wells for water, livestock, enough land to grow what we needed. Being far away from civilization turned out to be the only reason we didn't get swallowed up in the first wave of chaos. Still, Every night I tried calling New York. Every night the line stayed dead. Weeks passed, then months. No word from Aunt Maggie. No word from anyone in the city. Just silence. One morning I stepped out onto the porch around 700 to start chores. And there it was. A black case sitting right by the front door. No tire tracks in the dirt road. No delivery truck. No footprints. Just a case that hadn't been there the night before. Stamped on the lid was the United States seal. Now I've handled enough military equipment in my life to know when something's official business, so I brought it inside, set it on the kitchen table, opened it up slow. Inside were three things: a watch with an orange ring around the face, a stack of government documents authorizing emergency transport, and a sealed envelope with instructions for a helicopter pickup bound for New York City. Now that right there told me two things real quick. First thing, somebody in the government knew exactly who I was. Second thing, they expected me to come back to the fight. I picked up the watch. Heavy piece of hardware. Soon as it touched my wrist, the screen lit up bright orange. For a second, the house went quiet. Not a sound outside. Not the wind, not the birds, nothing. Then the watch chirped. Clear as a church bell. Agent Crook recognized. The orange circle pulsed like a heartbeat. Then it spoke again. Agent activated. I sat there a long minute, staring at that thing on my wrist. Didn't know what the hell the Strategic Homeland Division was yet. Didn't know what they wanted from me. But I knew one thing for certain. If the United States government was handing watches like this to people like me, then the country was already in worse shape than the news had been saying. And if Aunt Maggie was still somewhere up there in New York, well, I reckon it was time Gator went north and figured out just what kind of mess this world had turned into. End log.